So when making eyes on a character, you want to start off with a shape that you're comfortable with. You don't want to like push yourself to make it look like the way you first want it. It's not always going to end up the way you first want it. It's going to end up bad. I hate to say it, but that's how I learned. And so starting off with a shape that you're comfortable with will help you progress better and better later on. And I'm horrible at explaining things, but don't always do it in black. You should try out with like other colors and just kind of like experiment with it, because it'll always turn out good if you try new things with it. It's kind of how I learned how to do it. I don't know how to explain things. So I will come back whenever it's due to the part of coloring, I guess. So guys, important lesson is to always have the coloring underneath the line art, or else you're going to accidentally draw over the line art and mess the liner up, and that always sucks. So it's better to make sure that you have it underneath the line art, because I've messed up so many times working on something and not realizing I have it on the line art. So basically what I'm doing here is putting a clipping mask on top of the layer of the pupil so that I can make a darker color on top of the pupil, and what that's going to do is allow it to have more shading to it and more coloration, and once you see what I'm doing, it'll pop out a lot more. But once you're done outer laying, you always want the light color in the middle, the base color. Just Gaussian blur it so that it doesn't look so plain like it did before, and then add another layer and clip it, make another darker outer circle around it, not fully this time, only halfway, and add the part where the pupil will be. You see it in the video. I'm sorry, I'm so horrible at explaining things. And then Gaussian blur it again. Right here we're adding another layer and clipping it, and we're going to go to add this time and add the highlights of the eye around the area where the base color was. And as you can see right here, I kind of messed up, so I went in again, and you kind of want to like go around where the pupil is going to be, just to make it more of a highlight, and then Gaussian blur it like I just did in the video. And then add another layer, clip it, and go to add again, and this will add even more highlights, but this time just make them in little spots and don't make them big like the one I did before. And just like this one, Gaussian blur, but not as much as you did before, just a little bit. Just a little bit. This is totally up to you guys, but I like adding a little bit more lighter, and just a little bit more light to it, so that it kind of makes it more aesthetic looking, and that's what the turnout of it's going to look like. Right here, I'm about to add the actual pupil, and as you see, I took the color of the eyelash, and then I turned the opacity of it down so it would look like the eye, only it would also at the same time be a lot lighter than the eyelash, and also it looks good with it, so I mean, I can't really, and I also made the pupil like that, so that's the turnout of what the eye is going to look like. And that, that's about it. That's how I make my eyes. This part right here is actually really optional. You can add a black iris if you want to, but that's up to you, of course, and your style. Right here, and able to make the eye pop out a little bit more like I like it to. Instead of having it all white, I add a little bit of a grayish tint to it, because honestly that's kind of what eyes actually look like. They aren't actually fully white. And then I take the white for the actual highlights of the eye to make it look, a little bit brighter, make it pretty. Like I like making my eyes. Then I'll take a darker shade of gray, and that's how I make the full shading of the eye. So for the eyebrows, just like the eyes, you want to make it comfortable for you and then like slowly progress later on. But with eyebrows, I kind of just make a more long triangle shape that kind of goes out, and then I color it in, and I make a little line in the front of the eyebrow, or as called the triangle. For extra detail of the triangle or the eyebrow, I will clip it, make an extra layer, clip it, and then add a darker shade of brown or any other color that the eyebrow is, the base color. And I'll add some lines in there, and then I'll go to Gaussian blur it, and that'll add more detail to the eyebrow, and it'll help it, look a little bit better than just a base colored eyebrow, and go along with the hair and everything that you have. So for the mouth, you always want to have the same exact color as the skin outline is, because it makes it so much easier to blend in with the rest of the body. It's so much cuter for some reason. And you just want to make a line and 2 dots at the end of it. More like ovals, but it makes it a lot better than keeping it just straight. You want to have a little bit of like an oval at the end to make it more animated, cute, something like that. And here's some examples right here. Here's some examples of mouths. So we got like an upset, or maybe just neutral. And I always add like a line underneath them. I don't know why, but it's just something I do. It just adds cuteness for some reason. And right here is a spin half smiley face like you see in animes. Right here is a cute little tooth one, and the other one will be like a little tongue sticking out. And yeah, so there's some examples of mouths, I guess. And that about wraps up the whole tutorial of how to do the eyebrows, and mouths. Thank you to the person who actually asked for this. I don't really get asked to do tutorials of how to do things, since I don't really see myself as the kind of artist that other people ask. So thank you!